Good evening, y'all. Decided we're not hiding anymore. We need to go national. We need to go public. So here I am as myself. We'll get more into that in a minute. Today's date is 5 November 2008. It's kind of a somber day for some. I'm just relieved that it's all over. I mean, it's the beginning of what's to come. But I'm tired of all the election hoo-ha. Just fucking tired of it. The system's flawed in this country. Everything else. So, now we can get on and really hunker down and focus on what we need to focus on. Sorry I didn't say anything yesterday. Didn't video upload or anything. I was out watching the polls in 2 different districts and everything else. Speaking of that, I don't think that the election was secure. I'm not going to be like the liberals that scream voter fraud and election fraud and all that like the past 2 elections. However, I really don't feel it was secure. I mean, here in our AO, I went right into District 1. After watching the polls for a little bit, everything else went right in. Didn't have my voter registration card because they hadn't mailed it to me yet for some reason, because I just changed my address. Hadn't got my new one. I was obviously on the list, but walked right in, didn't give them my ID card, didn't give them a voter registration card, just told them my name, signed my signature, and I just moved here to where I've changed districts, and nobody there knew me. So I thought it was kind of funny. Walked right in. I could have said I was Joe Schmo off the street from any address, and as long as my information matched up, I could have just voted. I could have walked right across to District 3, which was in the exact same room, and voted again and told them the same thing. So, I've heard it from a lot of people. I've heard it all over. They didn't really feel the election was secure. I think our system's flawed anyway, like I said. I thought it was funny. In 2 places in Pennsylvania, everybody's probably heard about Philly, but there was another one too, over in Pittsburgh area in Beaver Township. There was Black Panthers, which, whatever. They're right up there with the Aryan Brotherhood. I mean, they're their own separate agenda. Hopefully nobody ever tries to confuse them with us, whatever. They're a bunch of fucking nut jobs. They were harassing voters, harassing poll watchers. Y'all have seen the videos. I'll link to the one YouTube video from one of the Republican poll watchers who managed to get harassed by these people. The guy was carrying a billy club or a nightstick. It was referred to as a bunch of different stuff. Small wooden club. The police didn't arrest the guy, obviously. I mean, you have a right to be there. It's not a concealed weapon, whatever. So they didn't arrest the guy. They did ask the one guy with the billy club to leave, but they left the other guy at the door, which I thought was funny because you couldn't be a supporter of a candidate and be that close. And he was harassing people and everything else. If it was one of us and we were in a militia uniform with a Gadsden flag patch, or camouflage or anything else, or even in civilian clothes, and we were just standing there and saying we were from the militia, whatever, we probably, especially if we had a nightstick, we probably would have had the SWAT team shooting at us. So I don't want to I'm not sounding racist because I'm not racist, but I find it ridiculous in our country that everybody is so afraid to be labeled as a racist, or so afraid of racism, that they're not about to do something to somebody because they were black. I've actually seen it in the U.S. military when I was there, that you would have an African-American NCO do the exact same thing as a white NCO, and because you had a white first sergeant or a white commander, they wouldn't do anything. They'd punish the white person harder than they would the African-American, just because they were afraid of being labeled as a racist. I mean, and now all of a sudden, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm getting called a racist because I voted for John McCain. Whatever, it's ridiculous. You all know my feelings why I voted for John McCain. Whatever, but you're not a racist because you didn't vote for Barack Obama. You're just an educated voter. But whatever, that's just the State of the Union. Also, I thought it was funny that the only states that mattered were the ones that seemed to have pending lawsuits with Acorn and voter fraud and all that. I thought that was a little ridiculous. Whatever. enough about the election. Like I said, we need to hunker in and vote. So what now? You know, it's the day after the election. We all have mixed feelings. You know, we all have the same common goal, so we need to come back together, focus in, say, yes, this is the situation. Basically, we just got our warno. You know, 6 months out to go into Iraq or Afghanistan, your unit gets its warning order, gets ready to prepare, everything else. You already should have been preparing, you know, but this is definitely our warning order. Right now, Obama's just going to put the country on a faster downward spiral. And like I told somebody today, it's basically we're strapped to the top of a freight train laden with explosives headed towards a brick wall. And that's basically the way the State of the Union is, so we need to stand to be heard. So let's really start to prepare, because we know what's coming. Like I said, we're all standing and being heard. You know, we really need to make our voice known. We need to let people know that we are, I hate to say Joe the plumber, because it was John McCain's whatever, but we need to let people know that we're truck drivers, school bus drivers, you know, coal mine workers. Let them know we're PTA people, we're soccer moms, we're soccer dads, we're Boy Scout leaders. We're just Americans that are fed up with our country. We're bankers, we're stockbrokers, we're everybody else. I look at everybody's experience, and I can tell that everybody, especially on some of the forums like awrm.org and everything else, there are so many people out there that are just fed up. So instead of like constantly bickering about what we need to do, we need to stand up and make our voice known. Now, I don't believe in a central militia. You all know this, because it's not the way it's supposed to work. However, me and Jim Naughton, I believe I pronounced his name right, not quite sure how to pronounce his last name, we've decided that we want to have